StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
4 बांस 24 गज अंगुल अष्ट प्रमाण, ताऊ पर बैठा है सुल्तान, अब मत चूको चौहान। ये लाइंस चंद बरदाई पृथ्वीराज रासो में पृथ्वीराज चौहान के लिए कह रहे हैं। वो पृथ्वीराज चौहान शायद जिनके पास ये आखिरी मौका था मोहम्मद घोरी को हराने के लिए। हालांकि इस लाइंस की या इस कविता की हिस्टोरिकल ऑथेंटिसिटी काफ़ी हिस्टोरियंस ने चैलेंज की है, बट हम बात कर रहे हैं पृथ्वीराज चौहान के मर्म की, यानी कि उन्हें ये आखिरी मौका मिला था। शायद यूपीएससी मेंस में पास हुए स्टूडेंट्स के पास भी ऐसा ही अनुभव होगा इस वक्त। 6 दिसंबर की शाम को आए यूपीएससी मेंस के रिजल्ट में पास हुए स्टूडेंट्स शायद इसी पशुपेश में हैं। नमस्कार, मैं हूं आशीष। आप देख रहे हैं स्टडी IQ's पॉलिसी वॉच और हम लेके आए हैं आपके पर्सनल इंटरव्यू से जुड़े हुए सवालों की एक कड़ी। हेलो एंड वेलकम टू पॉलिसी वॉच। मैं हूं आशीष और आज हम बात कर रहे हैं यूपीएससी बोर्ड के बारे में। वी हैव बॉट फॉर यू अ न्यू सेक्शन कॉल्ड एज नो योर बोर्ड. In today's presentation, we will discuss about various members of UPSC and what can you expect in your interview preparations as well as in the interview room. So here with me I have Avlokit and Omkar. आप दोनों ने पिछले साल इंटरव्यू दिए हैं और शायद ये हमारे लिए अच्छी बात है. I have given interview way back in 2016-17, but I'll also be putting up my experience. So we will start with Avlokit and Omkar. We'll start with the chairman of our board, Shri Manoj Soni. He also happens to be the eldest member among all the board members. And basically, मुझे जो ये लगता है that I have categorized all the members into 3 categories. One category is category of administrator, like one type of member may be a former administrator. The other type of member may be an academician, quote unquote, like pure academician. And the third, UPSC also sources from time to time from our armed forces, like Army, Navy and Air Force. And even in this year's composition of board, we have taken examples from all the 3. So we'll be discussing about the chairman of the board, Shri Manoj Soni, another administrator come academician called TC Anand. TC Anand sir happens to be the former chief statistician of India. And the third, newly inducted, just in July 2022, inducted Lieutenant General Shri Raj Shukla ji. And I think this will somehow sum up all the essence of the board, because there are other members also, but we will first discuss about sir. So Manoj Soni sir has been the youngest. He holds the record for being the youngest vice chancellor, and he is an academician in international studies. So he holds his research in post-international relations after the Cold War, and that's a very interesting topic to be. So I will begin with you, Lokit. Avlokit, what do you think Manoj Soni's board looks like? Sir ki board kaise rehti hai? Any idea from your colleagues or past year experiences that you have?
My interview was conducted by the chairperson BB Vyas sir, Bharat Bhushan Vyas sir. So, but 2 of my colleagues had an opportunity to interviewed by Manoj Soni sir. So it was the nature of Manoj Soni sir's board is very raw, philosophical, rooted to the tradition of India. So he likes to talk about the culture. He wants that how much you are aware of the culture, how much you are concerned about the issues which are deep rooted to the society. Okay. So the nature of the questions is like philosophical, more or less. That is what I have perceived through the experiences of my colleagues.
Any particular question that you have in mind that was asked?
So yes, one of my very close friend was giving an interview last year only. So it was his board, Manoj Soni sir. So it was a tradition that you go with a hand touched, namaste. So he by mistakenly said good morning, like this. And
so salutations got mixed up.
So Manoj Soni sir was very quick and happy about something. So he said, "Oh, it's very good that you are mixing Western and Indian culture together."
Okay.
So it was a booster for the candidate. So he thought it is a good idea, that momentum is good, energy is good. So then the question was asked that if Krishna came down to earth and asked you to go for a war, will you go for it? So the candidate's answer was, sorry sir, I will not go. And then, but the end story is that he got 135 marks. So apart from that, I won't
See,
speak.
it's fine. That is, but we also know that not just the chairman, but also the board members also interview you. They put up a series of five questions each, and that goes. So, what do you think, Omkar? How much role does your DAF play? How many questions from your DAF came? That is detailed application form, and as Avlokit said, that there are also philosophical questions, but of course not all questions will be like that, and you have some room. आपके पास कुछ तो अवसर होगा कि आप अपने गेम को improvise कर सकें. So how do you think DAF plays your role into it?
I think DAF plays a significant role in channelizing the initial conversation of the starting 2-3 questions. Those questions are definitely from DAF. For example, I will give an example like hobby. So few people, they have a habit of writing a very generic hobby like playing cricket. So there is nothing, I would say, interesting in playing cricket. But there was one of my friend, he was an investment banker. So he, as a hobby, he wrote trading psychology, like studying of trading psychology. So the member was TC Anand. So he started asking like what kind of models, financial models you make, what kind of risk models you make. So this is something that he knows about,
and that was listed as a hobby.
Yes, studying of trading psychology. So this shows how much intuitive or how much I would say observant you are, how much intellectually capable you are. Such sort of things shows that. So,
but one general question that our students may have, that most of us or most of the students are from engineering background, and they might say, sir, how do we write an interesting hobby just within 1.5 months time? Ki, theek hai, if we are playing cricket from all our lives and that is what we have done, ये हमारी hobby है.
Yes.
How do I make something out of my personality that would make up an interesting call in my interview?
So
how like, do you go about that?
One random example that I can take is, if someone is watching cricket, definitely he knows a lot about various sports person.
You cannot be surface, you cannot have just a surface knowledge. कि आपको बस सतही ज्ञान नहीं होना चाहिए.
It's a very generic thing. So he can write that reading about life of sportsmen. This looks good. Their struggle, their ups and downs, how they came back from their like failures. So such sort of things shows how much intuitive you are.
No, this thing, ये बहुत ही एक interesting चीज़ है कि आप ऐसी चीज़ें लिखें ताकि आपके DAF में से question आ जाए. If I am allowed to give my example, so I am a history student. I was a history student when I was giving. So मैंने अपनी hobby लिखी थी, heritage walk. And B.S. Bassi sir was interviewing me, and because he had the knowledge of being the police commissioner in Delhi, so he asked me, where do you give heritage walks in Delhi? So I told sir, I give it in Mehrauli. And he asked me what all is there in Mehrauli Archaeological Park. I gave him all the examples, Jamali Kamali Mosque or Metcalfe's Folly, etc., which is there. But then he said, do you know that there is also one very ancient temple which is outside Mehrauli Archaeological Park? And you should know about that, because that is not a part of Heritage Walk. But he asked me, and I knew that there is an old temple from the Mahabharata era called Yog Maya Temple, and I gave him that answer. And after that, he didn't ask me any question throughout the interview. He kept silent.
I would like to share one story about my hobby.
Yeah, please go.
So being an engineer, I also was puzzled. So what should my hobby is? So I came up with my interest as a bamboo. So then I discover how can I put it into my hobby? So I put it as a bamboo cultivation as my hobby. So you won't believe, the board members, among the 5, one was the bamboo expert.
Okay, so that was a good luck or a bad luck?
I feel it is a very good luck. So I had a very good conversation with the board member. He asked me the length, nod length, the growth in different seasons, the moisture levels, everything. And he asked me that I don't like bamboo. So he was putting me into a very uncomfortable situation. But I asked him, why don't you like bamboo? So how do you tackle the shocks in the interview? That also matters.
But see, at the end of the day, hobby is something we do for recreation, right? This is what we also want to put up to our students who are saying it. कि recreational चीज ही आप hobby में दे सकते हो. अगर मान लीजिए, if I want to make my interview ask something from my hobby, and if I give a very tough, looking hobby, I might also fall into the trap, right?
Yes,
Am I okay with this?
Yes.
Do you think?
What I believe personally, as senior bureaucrats have guided me before putting the DAF, that they've told me that the much narrower and pinpointed your hobby is the most desirable hobby can be for
That
the
can
questioning.
be. Yes. And what did you put your hobby as?
Particularly my hobby was the study of criminal psychology.
Okay, that's
So this was something that I love to know about, like what forces them to do a crime, what socio-economic backgrounds they come from crime, can criminals be profiled on various parameters.
Okay.
So this was something that is my hobby, and I love to do that.
Fine. Okay, so now it is the time to take up another member, and we are talking about TCA Anand sir. And TCA Anand sir happens to be the former chief statistician of India. He happens to be also longest serving secretary in the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation from 2010 to 2018. And during his time, the CSO office changed the base year to 2011-12 for Index of Industrial Production, CPI, etc. We know that. He also holds a PhD in economics in Cornell University, has taught in Delhi School of Economics. So he has a heady mix of being, I think, both as an academician as well as an administrator. So how do you think the approach of a candidate when going to TCA Anand sir's board should be? I'll start with you.
So basically, TC Anand sir have a background in bureaucracy as well as academics. So his approach is very simple and bureaucrat will never make you uncomfortable in the initial conversation. So that is in quality of a seasoned
This is often a
bureaucrat.
myth which is given that candidates will be barged up or will be thrown with a very uncomfortable, perplexing situation. Do you think that is how it is?
So one of the transcripts which I was going through of my friend, it was mentioned that sir asked him to be comfortable, be seated. Okay. Then he started with his DAF. Like, what is your work?
Yes,
What
he
was
starts
you
reading
did?
the DAF.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So then he goes to the next level of discussing if he belonged to Lucknow, and he was being asked a question that how do you think that economic model of Arunachal Pradesh or Northeast is different from the mainland India? So the tilt is there. The economic questions, the tilt is there. So that which I have perceived with my limited experience.
And what about you?
Like last year in 2021, what I observed is most of the candidates that were facing the board of TC Anand, what happened back then was share market was at its all-time high. So most of the questions were from share market. Like we can find a relevance that his background is also economics, and something I would say relevant or something big is happening at that particular point of time. So he wants to ask question from that repeatedly, that what are the reasons, like our economy is not doing very good, like GDP growth is not very good, but still markets are going up and up. What are the reasons behind it? It is good or it is bad, whether it is a bubble. So such sort of thing.
And let's suppose if you are not very well versed candidates in economics, let's suppose you're a social science student and you fumble there while answering that question. Do you think it reflects on the marks, or there is a role played by the other 4 members also in the board answering as well as questioning?
No, as far as marks, I would say it mostly depends on your level of confidence, the first thing. Second thing is how much humble you are. If a candidate does not knows about anything, it's always good to humbly accept that, sorry sir, I don't know, I will read about it. So the board also knows that.
Yes, this is what I wanted also to discuss, that there is also a game of perception. आप अपना एक प्रतिबिंब दिखा रहे हैं to the board members, because this is how you are brought up, judging your character or your personality within half an hour and presenting your best self, कि शायद हो सकती है हमसे आधे घंटे में कुछ गलती हो जाए. So क्या आपको लगता है, आप दोनों ने इंटरव्यू दिया है, आपको लगता है कि 1-1.5 महीने का समय अब मिलेगा और अपनी पर्सनालिटी को उस प्रकार से निखारना, is it an uphill task or you can do it very humbly, or do you think it is wrong to give a very caricatured persona in front of interview? I'll start with you, Omkar.
So I feel that through self-awareness, we can definitely identify some of the negative traits of our personality. Everyone has some negative traits of our personality. That few people, they get pressurized easily. Few people, they give up easily. Few people, they try to like portray themselves as someone different. So these are the negative traits of the personality. Through self-awareness, we can identify it, and we can like try to stop doing that in interview. So this is the best thing that we can do, and it is not so difficult in 1.5 months.
And you're saying that we should be more humble, down to earth.
Yes,
that
exactly.
is all. And what about you, Ablokit? How has your experience been?
I align with my friend Omkar. So I believe that 1.5 months, we should not take it as a time period. We should take it as an opportunity to reassess, to learn, and to be more humble to the process and towards life itself.
Yes.
It will give us a very positive approach towards looking at everything. So number one, what you can do objectively to work for 1.5 months is that I made a diary for that period. I used to put every day strengths and weaknesses so that I could assess if my weaknesses are going to the strengths, if my strengths are where I am working upon it, and am I capitalizing it. So my smile, I used to take it as a strength. So what I did is that when on the day itself, when I entered the room, so it was a COVID period. So they asked us to put a mask. So I pulled down the mask.
Why is that?
To
show
work on my strengths.
Okay,
I have to be like, I have to capitalize my strength.
Were you reprimanded for that?
Yeah. So no, I was appreciated. So it was like your smile is good, your pleasing personality. So that helps. You should understand that your confidence level should derive from yourself, and that is when you realize your strengths and weaknesses more in reality.
Okay, fine. Time for introduction of third member that we will be discussing today, and that is retired Lieutenant General Raj Shukla. He has served in counter-insurgency operations along LOC, particularly Baramulla. He has been an alumni of Defense Services Staff College in Wellington. So coming from a very prestigious army tradition, that is. And his contribution mainly has been in what UPSC website calls as military fusion. So that is coming together of different branches of military operations and making sure that it works in the new theater war dynamics of it. And इससे पहले भी यूपीएससी ने ये ट्रेडिशन रखा है कि कोई ना कोई मेंबर्स हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस से रहेंगे. So I think Bhosle sir was there before, right? Air Marshal Bhosle sir was there from Air Force. और इस time we have Raj Shukla sir की appointment बहुत ही recent हुई है. So I don't think any prior experiences we have. But we can talk about prior experiences of Bhosle sir. So what do you speak about having an interview done with an armed forces member?
So with my experience, few of my friends who have faced the board of Bhosle sir, he tries
who is now retired.
Yes. So what he tries to do is he tries to check personality traits overall. He is not very much interested in your knowledge. He throws you random questions, situation based questions.
Okay.
For example, there was a question that suppose you are tourism secretary of Goa and you are trying to keep beaches clean, but then after all your efforts you don't find those efforts going successful. So what you will do? So the aspirant was, he said first like I will try to generate awareness and all those sort of things.
Okay.
But then finally he asked, all these things are not working, what you will do now, tell me.
Okay.
So he was very blunt that I will start penalizing violators heavily.
Okay.
And he got good marks. So what he tries to check is whether you are able to take hard decisions or not, whether you are able to lead your men into difficult situation or not as a leader. So these are the traits that they expect into you.
So there will be some pressure in the room if you are sitting with an armed forces.
Not exactly as a pressure. They want to interact. It's not an interview. I would say it's a kind of communication. They want to know you. So it's always better to show that these traits I have, good traits that I have.
And how do you think the marking pattern of such boards go? Because they are basically not from either civil administration or from academics background. So do you think एक सिविल सर्विस एस्पिरेंट से काफ़ी दूर रहते हैं फ्रॉम द साइकोलॉजी ऑफ अ सिविल सर्विस एस्पिरेंट, दे आर बिट फार अवे, और डू यू थिंक कि ये उस तरीके से बोर्ड बन जाता है जैसे एसएसबी के इंटरव्यूज हो रहे हों और समथिंग लाइक दैट, बिकॉज यूपीएससी ऑल्सो कंडक्ट्स सीएपीएफ एग्जामिनेशंस, राइट?
So personally, I believe that there is no difference in marking of an army background board member and a bureaucratic board member or academician. They have UPSC have the parameters for marking.
Yes.
So, but what testing the parameters of your character, your attitude may vary. Someone check your temperament. Someone check. Someone may throw you in a very difficult situation. But some board member can be very much like helpful for you. So that situations can change, but I don't think so. There is a discretion or there is a difference in marks, patterns, and everything.
Okay. So I'm just talking about since we are discussing the last member for today, so I wanted to discuss about the importance of marks also at the end of the day, because now मेंस यू हैव गिवन, आपने मेंस दे दिया है, शायद आपको पता है कि मेंस मेरा बहुत अच्छा गया हो, यू मे बी वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट. अगर आपको ये भी लग रहा है कि मेंस आपका खराब गया हो, सो आई वांट टू टेल द स्टूडेंट्स दैट दिस इज एन ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट सेट ऑफ एग्जाम, राइट? 275 मार्क्स से आपको जितना मिल सकता है आपको लेने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए, बिकॉज दिस हैज नो रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ मेंस और द शैडो ऑफ मेंस ओवर इंटरव्यू. So we have just taken data from 2021 merit list, and I want to tell you about the highest marks that 2021 candidates got. So there were two candidates, one at rank 77, they got 206, right? But their mains marks was 785. Now if you analyze the data, अगर आप वो list देखेंगे तो रैंक 1 से रैंक 77 में किसी को भी 700 के रेंज में मेंस का मार्क्स आया ही नहीं था. He was the only candidate who got in 700 range, and yet he was in top 100 because he got 206 marks. He or she, I beg your pardon. We are not taking names deliberately. Okay. Now, rank 100 got again 206, and that mains marks was also 779. That speaks something. Yeah. Then you have the least marks of the candidates. I will not take the rank name, but the least marks was 140. Okay, but the mains marks was, you guess not, 821. So you can imagine if that candidate जिसको 821 मेंस में मिला है, अगर उसे 190 भी मिल जाता है, 60 भी मिल जाता, the rank would have improved, and the rank came to mid 200 to 250 से लेके 200 300 के बीच में. We don't want to tell the rank. Similarly, another candidate 140 marks, the rank went to beyond 350. So hear about importance of interview marks. What do you think should be the right strategy, that you should not worry about the marks, and what kind of blunders that you can do that will give you 140 marks? We are not talking about the exceptional interviews, but I'm talking specifically about blunders. कि आप blunders क्या कर सकते हैं? आप लोग के I'll start with you.
First, I'll start with some numbers, as you said that the importance of interview.
Yes.
Personally, I cleared my mains by 1 mark of cutoff.
Okay.
That I humbly accept. But that does not stop me for working for interviews.
Yes, that should not.
Yeah,
that should.
And the last year's average, the highest may be 205, but how many number of students they got highest? It is very less.
Yes.
The average, like 90 to 80% students who cracked the exam got the marks between 160 to 170.
Okay.
That was the range. So I got 170.
Okay.
So despite clearing mains by only 1 mark, but I got 117, personally it does. That shows that you can work for it. And what blunders? For example, there was a case. The student got very handsome marks. He cleared the mains with a very good margin.
Okay.
But his approach to interviews was, I will not put IPS as an option. So it's okay to not have any service on your DAP.
Was he questioned on this?
Yeah. Okay. But it should be justified in a right manner. So he was just having a journalistic view, a negative view towards the police services.
Okay.
So it should not happen like this. This is a blunder you can make.
Okay. Any point that comes to your mind?
One of the biggest blunders that I have seen people doing is they feel that they can lie in front of the interview board
Yeah.
and they will not get an idea.
That
of
is
it.
a strict no-no. That is
Yeah.
a strict no-no.
So
Yes.
the instant the interview board finds that you are lying, and
Yeah.
sooner or later they will find it.
They
And
will
in
find
that
it.
pressure situation, truth starts coming out. So it's better to be truthful over there.
Okay. Okay. So this you're saying is that. Fine. So this has been a way of limited talks with respect to personal interview of UPSC students. I'm sure we'll come out with more of that, specifically talking more about the other board members. और भी बहुत सारे board members हैं that we need to talk about, know about. It is the least that a candidate can do. Also, to make you understand that there are other members also of the board who will quiz you and question you. The idea is to be subjective, calm, energetic, at the same point of time humble and down to earth. We will come up with more such ideas to guide you about your personal interview section. Keep watching more. This was Policy Watch StudyIQ presentation. Thank you.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल.